I've been at Asure Software about 6 years, and I actually just moved into a product marketing and sales enablement role. From a sales enablement perspective, Bloomfire has become even more important. So I'm excited to be here today. We've been using Bloomfire going on 2 years. I came to the user conference last year, and we had just gotten our initial implementation off the ground. And I came to the conference and really just had my mind blown by how much more we could be doing. So I'm excited to share our story. Okay, so Bloomfire at Asure, a social media approach to content management, unites a mobile workforce. And I'm actually going to talk a little bit about who we are at Asure, because what we do as a company ties right into why Bloomfire was such a good solution for us. So bear with me, I'm going somewhere with all this. So we are a leading provider of workforce and workspace management solutions. So on the workforce side, it's all of your traditional HCM stuff, human capital management. So payroll, time and attendance, benefits administration, performance management, all the software tools you need to manage an individual employee. But we also offer a full set of workplace management solutions. So think conference room reservations, hoteling and mobile work solutions, service management like catering or AV. We do utilization monitoring so our customers can understand how much space they're actually using and how much space they really need for their employees, and lots of reporting and analytics. So this is kind of the nuts and bolts of what we do, but we really have a bigger vision about integrating these two solution sets. So historically, these are two things that have been managed separately, right? HR belongs to HR, and workspace belongs to facilities or real estate. But given some of the current trends in business, these two things can really function as sort of two sides of the same coin. So we are motivated by these three trends. And already this morning, this has come up probably a dozen times, the fact that many of us work remote. So technology refers a little bit to, of course, mobile devices and smartphones, but it's really about the cloud, right? So historically, you had to go to your office because all the applications were on local servers, and you had to connect to that network to use that program. So being in a physical space was a requirement of your job. Today, all those applications are in the cloud, and that means all you need to access them is an internet connection. So between the cloud and all these mobile devices, we have seen this huge trend towards mobilization. People can work anywhere, and they want to work anywhere. We want to work at home, in coffee shops, and airports. The need for that physical space is kind of disappearing. At the same time, you have this huge trend in globalization, which really changes when we work. We're all global companies, and so my 8 to 5 may not be your 8 to 5. So technology and mobilization, we work anywhere. Globalization, we kind of have to work at any time. And all of that has led to the emergence of the digital workplace, which is really sort of replacing that physical brick and mortar. It's not necessary for us to all come together anymore. At Asure, we eat our own dog food, which is one of the worst corporate expressions ever, but you all know what I mean. We are largely a digital workplace. Most of our employees are remote. We have offices across the country, and we typically all are virtual to one another. And while there's tons of benefits there, you've got better work-life balance, all this flexibility. Employers are finding they can reduce their real estate because people can share desks. So they don't need as much physical space. So there's all these advantages. And at Asure, we tout these benefits all day long, right? This is our business. But there is a couple of downsides to the digital workplace. And at Asure, we encountered both of them. Without the physical space, you lose some of that opportunity to create culture. And you lose a little bit of that employee engagement simply because they're not all there together. They're not standing around the water cooler. You can't ask the guy next to you, hey, what did you do in this scenario? At Asure, we also had the added challenge of being a company that's made up of a lot of acquisitions. So we've grown over the years by acquiring partners and even competitors, point solutions that fit into our platform. And so in addition to all being virtual and remote to one another, we have these pockets of domain knowledge that exist within each acquisition. We don't all have the same historical understanding of products or customers. And so what was happening, we found that our key resources in these pockets were really being overburdened. They were being asked the same questions over and over again. And it was really impacting their productivity. And the biggest driver for all these questions was really RFPs. So sales teams have to complete requests for proposals. And they come from customers, and so they're unique to each customer, but they're typically always asking the same questions. And so after being asked these same questions over and over, somebody finally said, hey, why don't we write this stuff down and keep it somewhere where we can all access it later? And so that was the beginning of Bloomfire at Asure. So the solution architects team really spearheaded the initiative to bring Bloomfire in, and it was really that solution specifically to RFPs. So they could submit their different technical questions to hosting ops or our product managers and have those answers available to search later in the future. And we had great adoption. Our SA team is relatively small, so we only had maybe 10 or so users all told. But everybody liked it. The application was easy to use, and it was making their process simpler. So we were winning right out of the gate. And then I came to the user conference and got all sorts of ideas. So the big things that really stood out to me in Bloomfire were the groups and the featured content. So all told, we have maybe a dozen different products, and they're all in kind of different phases of their life cycle. We're really driven by technology, so we're constantly releasing updates to be compatible with different platforms. We integrate with all these different solutions. And so getting that content out to our sales team, our services team, our support team had always been a challenge because there was just so much information, and it was so dynamic. We had updates and new information all the time. So the groups and the featured content really resonated with me because we have sort of three distinct product lines that all have sort of their unique users that are specialists in that area. And the featured content was going to give us that opportunity to really highlight things that were the most important. I also really liked the option of doing a video recording. We use it a lot to demo aspects of the product. So if we added a new feature, you can spend 5 minutes, do a little screen recording, show how it works, and now your services team is all set for their next implementation. Content as a series also really resonated with me. We do a lot of release notes across all of our different products. So being able to keep all of those together in one post was really helpful. And then analytics. Because we are all virtual and remote, we need to make sure that people are staying engaged. And so the analytics in Bloomfire was really a great way to keep tabs on that. So I came out of the user conference with really this idea that it didn't have to just be questions coming in. It could be a way for us to push content out. And so we'll take a look. This is our Bloomfire site. This is our primary Asure software community. So everything in here is really sort of general. It doesn't matter what product it is. It kind of applies to everything. And then we have communities set up by our primary product lines. And so we use the featured content to really emphasize elements that are only going to be of interest within that product set. And because we do have specialists, there's some things that they're just not going to be interested in. And so using these groups really lets them kind of pick and choose what they want to consume and what notifications they want to receive. So on the Asure 4 side, this is one of our other main product lines. You can see it's totally different featured content because they have different things going on that are of interest to their sales team, their services team. And so Bloomfire really became a two-way street for us. It was a way for product management to push content out, all the advantages of version control and all these different things, and then our team could still send questions in. One of the things that came up earlier, I think in Diana's presentation about version control, one of the things we do to help streamline that, because we do update our docs a lot. So for example, we offer an integration with what used to be Microsoft Link, but is now Skype for Business. So our technology didn't change at all, but all the branding changed. And so we had to go in and change all those docs and push them back out. So what we do when we post a document, rather than attach the document itself in the Bloomfire post, we post it on an FTP server. And then we share the link to that doc. Because we share documents in different places. Bloomfire is how we communicate internally, but we also have a support portal that's a completely separate thing for client-facing documentation. Sometimes we send documentation out to clients in big marketing blasts. So by using the link instead, if I make a change to that document, I can update it on the FTP server, and then the link is updated everywhere. So as long as you have the link, you're always accessing the most current version. And it got us away from the problem of people downloading a version and keeping it forever. And then they've got something outdated, they don't even realize it. So our training is always go back to the post, download the latest version, that way you know you've got the latest and greatest.
Does the search in Bloomfire find that content?
Well, so the link itself is embedded in a description of what it is.
Okay.
So that's where the search is pulling it up.
But it won't necessarily be a deep search of the content, or like?
Oh, within the link? No.
Okay.
No. So we have to make sure we've got all those keywords in the description, the title, categories, tags. We use all these different ways to organize this content because some pieces are cross-purposed, right? It might be about Asure space, but really it's about SSO, and there's information here that's of interest to other groups. And so by using categories and tags, we're able to really get a lot of sort of dual use out of some of our documentation. But the real win for us was the establishment of a little bit of a culture. So again, all of our employees are remote, you've got documentation flying around everywhere, but there wasn't a common platform that everyone could sort of come to that had that social media style engagement. And that was really, when I left here last year, that was the piece I was most excited about, was the idea that you could like things and share things and engage in conversations with other users, that you could follow authors. And so it really gave us kind of this platform where people could get to know each other. They could engage with one another, they could recognize people that they wanted to be mentors in the company. So you could see, you know, Rodney Morrell asks great questions about benefits administration. I'm gonna ping him and talk to him. I think I could learn a lot from him. You can go into his profile and see he's been doing this for 20 years. And so it allowed a lot of our remote employees to find a connection to the greater Asure organization and to start to build some relationships. And it drove everyone's overall engagement and productivity, because talk about cutting down time to find answers. We were pinging individuals who were all very busy. And so you might send the same question out to 7 people and wait 3 days and still no one has responded. So in Bloomfire now, the question's probably already answered. You can just search and find it. But even if it's a brand new question, because you have so many eyes on it, people respond more quickly. So it's just been a huge win for us across the board. We solved that immediate problem of solution architects needing a repository, solved the problem of product management having a great social platform to deliver our content, and then kind of this side benefit that we didn't even see coming, that people feel more engaged and they feel more connected. And this is a piece that we're still really driving. People are still getting comfortable with the idea that I can comment on things or ask questions. But people love the tool. It's so easy to use. And our goal ultimately is that we have enough of a rhythm on the featured content that going into Bloomfire becomes an activity similar to going into Facebook to check your news feed. What happened today? What's going on this week? What is interesting in AsureForce that I don't know about? Friday afternoons, when you've got that last hour you're pulling through, go into Bloomfire, find some great content, learn something new about one of our divisions, one of our products. So that is Bloomfire at Asure.